Next and last feature is power over Ethernet. They just call it big P, little o, big E. What we like about power over Ethernet is it provides electricity over our unshielded twisted pair without interfering with our data. That is awesome. Because what this means is we only need one cable run to that device. Okay? So normally, if I was going to put in, for example, a wireless access point, that look like a wireless access point? Sure, looks great. And he draws it all 3D and makes it look ugly. Okay, so there's my wireless access point, right? I'm going to have an Ethernet wire that connects the access point to the network, and I'm going to have to plug in a power brick into the wall. Right? So I have to run two cables, electricity and networking. If I only need to run one, I save a lot of money. I don't draw good dollar signs, do I? Let's try that dollar sign again. I'm going to save some money, especially because electricians are usually kind of more expensive. They have to be bonded. I'll just call them pros. Profis? Pros. Okay. You pay a lot of money for an electrician to run these cables in, and that'll cost you a lot of money. Unshielded twisted pair, I mean, we've all done that ourselves, right? And the electricity just runs over those cables. We have to run this unshielded twisted pair anyway, and so that's the one you do, and this one you just don't do. Yeah.
So the electricity runs over those twisted pairs that we didn't really mention?
The electricity runs over, yes, the pairs we didn't mention, but it also runs at a lower frequency. And so actually it can run at the same time as the data.
Like on the same twisted pairs?
Yeah, they can use all the pairs.
Oh.
And they have to actually use all the pairs because those wires are really thin, right? And it runs at, it's 48 volts. Okay, and 48 volts is a kind of a high voltage. It's enough to shock you. So we'll say here, don't lick it. Okay. Don't lick it. If you even touch it, it will still shock you. 48 volts will get you. I mean, it won't kill you, thank goodness, but don't put your tongue on it. You'll be sad. Don't lick it. Touch equals, we'll just say bzzzt. You'll feel the touch, but the lick will get you good. So it's 48 volts. It provides, and we're all interested in all this, 15.4 watts. This is enough, oops, I'll put here, enough. It's going to be enough to power a wireless access point. And I always have it in my mind that I'm going to get, my next switch I'm going to get is going to have this, just so I can get rid of the plug into my wireless access point. Isn't that a noble goal? Then you don't have to have that plug anymore. I don't know. And then, I don't know. Then you only have one thing to provide backup electricity for, too. What are we doing here? Enough for wireless access points. You can run IP telephones on this. So an IP phone will actually run. Normally when you buy an IP phone, it will have the extra plug in it, and so the one in my office is plugged into the wall too, but I can actually unplug that. They just I don't know, I guess they're distributing the load or something. The IP telephone will totally run on it. This will also run a camera that is a fixed security camera. Okay, oops, look at that camera, oof. So a fixed security camera, looks like a doctor's signature or something there. Look at this tiny paper anyway. So a fixed security camera, that means not a camera with a motor in it. You can't run a pan, tilt, or zoom camera. You can't run a kiosk, like a, what would we call that? We'll call it a small PC. So it won't run a small PC. But just to note up here, with one of these you could run something like an iPad. Okay? 15.4 watts is, that'll run an iPad. Might not charge it, but it'd probably run it. But a PC isn't going to make it. A PC will usually run 20 watts-ish. They are working on the combination of PCs that use less power, and they're amping up the wattage here. And they are working on stuff that will support cameras and small PCs. Okay. We care about this. So a fixed security camera, that's just the kind that points one way and just sits there. Those, you can even get ones of those, well, just in software. It'll have like a web server and some other stuff, but the electricity from these points will run a little camera pretty good. But Las Vegas, where they're zooming into people's hands and seeing what their hand has, it's not going to work.